this is going back to early in your speech. You were talking about the General Electric executives who are really pushing nuclear reactors being built all around the world.
Yes.
I wonder, I don't know if you know specifically, obviously, because this was back in the 60s, but do you think that the GE executives knew how dangerous an accident at a reactor could be? Because at that time there hadn't been any accidents, and I mean, do you think that they, there may have been a sense of fooling themselves, or just that, maybe the government and the military said, well, these are bombs, and what you're doing is safe. Do you think they had any idea?
I think that's a very valid point, because what happened after the Manhattan Commission successfully detonated a bunch of bombs in Nevada, and then let's try it on some people, and incinerated 260,000 people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They were enemies. They attacked us. They deserved it. So there was this sort of, we're almighty powerful, and this is the beginning of the atomic age. So that was only 1945. In 1961, it's only 15, 16 years afterwards. So there was this fervent, we're invincible, and we have complete control of what we're doing. And this was the preliminary design. We went with that. And GE, as it was then, as it is now, is one of the major components of the military-industrial complex, which drives the economy of the United States, and the rich get super rich. And they've already committed to a certain price. They start building these, and the engineers were complaining. The CEO was looking at it from an economic viability point of view, and already committed an X amount of profits, X amount of handouts to all politicians and all the right people. He, in his position as CEO, could not think of canceling all those or no profit. It was not acceptable as a CEO. So, like he said, I'm going to ram this through. I think you're partially correct in that he really had no feel for what the consequences were going to be. And that the only time people were incinerated, which included 20 Americans, by the way, he had no idea how horrible it could be, I think. And it was purely a financial decision. And the engineers quit, so what? It works, right? That's all we want. It works. They can pay money and fix it on their own later. Yeah, complacency. And profits before safety and people. Which goes on today with all the large corporations that are part of the military, industrial, and chemical industrial complex.
I think it's also related with how much to build it up, how much money the companies are earning. Because the last time when I was I'm also studying a PhD in international relations here in Hong Kong University. Our topic was this.
Did you say Hong Kong University?
Yeah,
that's where we live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, downstream.
Yeah.
I'm a candidate right now.
Oh, good.
I tried to write the thesis now.
Good.
Didn't start yet. So
yeah.
I think it was like last time there was a trial, which one actually it was a political issue, which was they were blaming the KMT during the KMT time. The DPP were blaming that because my professor is advisor of the former DPP, the head.
I see.
Yeah, that's why he was mentioning the class, and we were talking over it. And I think they were talking about like $1 billion.
Yes.
They pay to the GM company, but subcontractors they used, and those subcontractors also used another subcontractors. And build it up these things.
Yeah, very cheaply made.
So it's all about the money now.
Yeah.
The government. Because, for example, in Turkey right now, you said so many times there, but Turkey is recently also has some problems with the opposite party right now, because they almost build it up like three, the big, the nuclear power plant right now, and only the who's defending it or protesting it, only the villagers right now. Because one of them is my hometown.
Yeah.
It's in the south. I'm on the, Iskenderun, Alexandria, the city, the Turkish side.
Yeah.
Right across is the Alexandria, is the the Egypt.
Yes.
So we are the Mediterranean side.
Yeah.
So they also, they have the plant there. So I think Russians maybe, two. One is Korea, maybe.
Yeah.
Another one.
Good luck.
Yes. So that's why it's a hot topic for me now.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
also against this one.
I can get into that.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, follow the money.
Yeah.
If you just follow the money, it's easy to see how things are working. I'm sorry to say that there is evidence that the current president got his retirement fund from the 4th nuclear plant Lawman, because that's what they usually do. They'll pay off the top leader an unbelievable sum of money. And the nuclear reactors and plants are a money maker, tremendous money maker. I showed you the 2 plants that were shut down near where my mother lives in America, San Diego. Well, guess what? They're charging the public $2 billion or more that the taxpayer must pay. The average citizen is paying to shut down $2 billion. Why? Doesn't make any sense. But when you look on your monthly energy bill, electricity, $50. Nuclear shutdown cost, $12. What? Why? So somebody's getting billions of dollars continuously, even after you shut it down. It's a cash cow. God, it's hard to fight that.
So, kind of what you're saying is a really rich person could just build it without having to think about whether it's going to be used or not, because they know they're going to get the money back from it anyway.
It goes all the way down, like he was saying, is that the primary contractor, subcontract, and each along the way making millions and millions and millions of dollars until you get totally incompetent, what is it, Murphy's Law? Until you get the totally incompetent people building a plant with a totally incompetent design. So you're asking for disaster.
Another thing is we have to really understand about it, which is how many percentage of the electricity they are producing off Taiwan.
That's a super important point.
Yeah, it's probably 15% or
Correct.
something. All of the
Yeah.
plants.
It's unnecessary. And there are so many more options that won't kill us all and all the children forever and ever. You can't compare them, because one is complete horrible death and the other one is beautiful green sustainable energy forever. For 16% of the electricity, it's a non-brainer. So there's something missing. Why? Why isn't the government moving? And it's always the money. So I can only hope that when this current regime goes out, that the new people who come in are super aware of this and they do what's the right thing. Otherwise, not only are we just going to suffer a horrendous death, but every child on this island will too.
I have another question,
Yes.
just a quick one. This one,
Yeah.
it's about the Germany. I want to ask, which is the Germany is against the goals. Seems like right now, recently they said they're against the nuclear power or something that, but they try to open new generators recently. They shut down some of the things, but I heard that they have plans to open
Again, it's about follow the money, I think. Because this happens everywhere. Even after Fukushima, and the government said, okay, we'll shut down nuclear plants everywhere. And then suddenly, this opened and this opened and that quietly. This opened, this opened, this opened. Yeah. So people keep receiving money, I guess. Because if the public knew the truth of how it really works, I think they'd be really angry. Because they're compromising the safety of the whole future of this country, this land. And it's the same in Germany, America. In Taiwan right now, this is like insult upon injury is going on right now. Which is that TEPCO applied to the Taiwan Nuclear Regulatory Commission for a 20-year extension. What? Even the corrupt GE people said, this old beat-up poor design plant will last 40 years. Well, the first plant expires in 2019. So it's supposed to be shut down. But not TEPCO, Thai Power, same thing. They said, oh, I think it's good for another 20 years. Come on, give it to us. Who decides that? The people under Mainjo. They're only responsible to answer the Mainjo. What do you think about this application? He's leaving. He's got a full U.S. passport, unbelievable amount of money for his whole family. He's all set. He can't wait to just get out of here. So he'll probably say, whatever, I don't care. I'm all set. If you can make some money, then try to go for it.
It's going to be out of the
So,
party too,
what?
after the
I mean,
presidency.
It's unthinkable to extend this beat-up old thing that could kill us all for another 20 years. And it might happen. Who's going to stop it? It has to be each one of us and all our friends.
I think you should go to Tongkang University. There's a future studies there. There's a Professor Chen. Did you need to?
No, but you can introduce me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing,
Yeah.
Tongkang University, because I live there. I've heard that they send a bunch of students to Fukushima to, interact with other students and do something nice from Taiwan students to Fukushima students. And they took pictures, had wonderful food, and came back. And talking story about it in this auditorium. I showed up in the back of the auditorium, like this, and I just turned them on. It was 35. 700 times of background radiation. The kids were radioactive. And any questions, comments? I said, yes, hi. I'm Dr. Joseph, lecturer at Academia in Taida. And do you know that you are radioactive? 700 times of the normal? They called security, grabbed my arms, and escorted me out off the campus. But I said, I live here. I said, they said, you are not invited to this room. So, tremendous denial. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
I wanted to say something because this kind of goes to what we were just talking about. Two parts. The denial, maybe you can address that first, but let me preface it. So what you guys were just talking about like raising the shelf life of these nuclear power plants.
Yeah.
I remember just after Fukushima, I remember actually seeing a lot of interviews with that guy, Arnie Gunderson. And he was saying that this has been going on in the United States for, ever since when one of the nuclear power plants would reach its date, they would just apply and say, well, how about give us another 10 or 20 years?
Yeah.
And depending on the situation, they'd come through and check it and go, okay, you can have it. And that's still going on, right?
Yes, yes.
So from two different directions, how are they able to fool everyone into thinking that's okay?
Okay, good
So wait,
question.
that's the first part.
Yes.
And maybe you can answer that first, but I want to... Okay, well, I'll let you answer
No,
that first.
you
No,
can
it's
second.
okay. I won't get you confused with two parts at one
All right.
time.
This
But
is-
how are they able to...
This is a key point.
Okay.
Very good point. Who is really policing these nuclear plants? IAEA. What's that? International Atomic Energy Association. Was a private group that was formed soon after the United Nations was formed. And then they went to the United Nations and said, well, let us be your police watchdogs. We'll go into all over the world, anywhere, and give a full, accurate report. And look, we have a whole team of professional engineers. However, if you read about what the IAEA really do, is that they are committed to the proliferation of this wonderful nuclear power energy. That's their motive. So it's like having the fox watch the chickens. And same as Taiwan. AEC, Atomic Energy Commission. Sounds wonderful. If you read their website, we are fully committed to the proliferation of this wonderful, safe, clean nuclear energy. So they're baby IAEA. And they only have to report to the president. We report directly to the president in a see-through, transparent manner, it says. Really? So we have a baby AEC here, and the worldwide IAEA, and they're both foxes watching the chicken coop.
So that's...
And the public has no say in what happens with that.
That's part one. Now, part two is why do you think so many progressive people still fully support nuclear power? Like, I mean, there are a lot of people who would count themselves as progressive on a lot of social issues. But, you know, like, it's people's views and opinions as a spectrum. You know, somebody can be pro-gay marriage and pro this and that, but also pro-nuclear.
Yeah.
Why is it, do you think, that a lot of progressives still are pro-nuclear?
I think maybe along those lines, one, because a lot of progressive people, a lot of them might be Republican types who actually can benefit in some way from the proliferation of nuclear energy, because so many subcontractors are connected to GE, Westinghouse, and all the big boys, and they're going to make money somewhere along the way. Whether it's funding, or building, or materials, there's a tremendous spread out amongst all the industries where they'll make money. Number one. Number two, there is still that mentality that we talked about in the 60s, soon after the beginning of the atomic age, that America is almighty. And we can have 100,000 nuclear warheads, but other countries are not allowed to have any. There's that mentality. So therefore, we are the world's nuclear experts, and we know what we're doing. There's that mentality seems really strong. And I agree with you. I've talked to, met, and listened to online so many seemingly really intelligent people who are assuring people that nuclear energy is the best, cheapest, and safest, most incredible energy there is. And you guys are all stupid for saying that it's not. Well, sorry, but I just can say, please look further into this. Look at the reality. Go to these places. Talk to disgruntled nuclear engineers who have actually built these places, like Gunderson and many, many others. Who invited, 3 years ago, 2 nuclear engineers came to Taiwan. I don't know who invited them, because it must have not been the government, because they spoke honestly. That, you know, we go all over the world looking at nuclear plants, and honestly, Taiwanese plants were the most poorly maintained plants. We found cracks in the major screws that hold down the major casings. The electrical wiring was rusted. The wall is not enough to hold a tsunami. The diesel generators are too low. You're going to have another Fukushima here. 2-3 years ago, the engineer said that. I put it all over the internet, but nobody did anything. And then last month, an engineer and a geologist came, saying similar thing, but more mellow. So the truth is out on the table. You know, the elephant is in the room. What do we do next? We've got to do something. This is just crazy.
But consider if it's not money, and it's not, they're not from America. They're from a different country, no allegiance to America, and they're maybe not going to benefit from it. I think there's an ideology with a lot of progressives that, you know, they're pro-GM crops, right? They're pro, and I'm not necessarily completely anti all GM crops. I think we could, you know, grow maybe like cotton or something that we don't eat GM.
I think I could probably say something about that, just because I come from Oregon, where, you know, a lot of hippie communities, a lot of progressives, we're considered tree huggers, but I see this a lot where people think that things like nuclear energy, they're thinking of this utopian idea of progress. How are we going to be greener? Well, nuclear power plants, we have been told, if everything was right, they don't pollute. We think that there was, you know, there's coal, and then there's nuclear, and we're going forward, that it's an idea that we're going forward. Okay, and the GMO crops is going forward, and they're saving people's lives and increasing productivity, and we see it as this spectrum of things are getting better. Technology is making things better. We're going towards utopia. However, it's the lie of clean energy coming from nuclear. Coal plants, yes, we can look out our windows and we can see the pollution coming over from China, from the steel factories, from the coal burning. That is visual to us. And what people don't see is that with coal, the rain is going to, you know, bring it down in acid rain. Yeah, we're heating up our planet and everything, but that stuff will go away. The nuclear stuff, once it's in the air, once it's in the water, it's going to be here for millions of years. not like the PM2 that we're breathing. That stuff is an invisible killer, and that's what it is. You can have blue skies, and you're still going to be melting inside and bleeding to death. And the worst thing is our eggs and our sperm, they are the most vulnerable. They're the fetuses. It's bioaccumulated over different generations. You can see already that the bugs in Fukushima, because it's generations going much faster, are completely mutated and horrible little fish. Bigger mammals and bigger mammals. It happens with the generations. It's going to affect us in a number of generations, and it's going to be awful. And we will be sterile. We will not be able to reproduce. It will be the end of humanity. It's invisible, and people have been sold a lie, including progressives and all of us tree huggers. We were told that this was cleaner, but it's because we can't see it.
So it's like ignorance and this idea that it's part of the progression itself.
It's part of progress. It's part of technology. It's us, environmentalists that think that technology is going to bring us to a clean tomorrow. Where actually we need to go back to basics. We need to go back to the sun and the wind and growing our own food and living a simpler life. That's the way to clean up our environment. And not having all of these super crops and this super tech. We can't harness the energy of an atomic particle. It's too big for us.
Because for every country right now, the next step is, building a plant right now, which is like, okay, who built it the first? When we take a look at it, it's like the most powerful countries, they made it at the beginning. So other countries, they are ambitious about it, and they thought about it that this technology, we're going to move to another technology. At least we have to start from that one, that we could learn it. I think this is my explanation about this one, because I know for the Turkish minds, the Turkish governments, the minds, what they think about it. Okay, we're going to be the super country there, in this Middle East and the European sites in Bulgaria or something. We can be the better than them. How are we going to be better than them?
Nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear first, and then nuclear power we will make. It's like the nuclear deterrence, the things, buffer strategy, They are following those stuff. I think they won't stop at that. And another thing is the United States let the Iran got the nuclear, the bomb right now. They are the 7th country or 6th. I don't remember that. They become just one of the numbers. These all the kind of like strategy there.
It's the ego that that human innovation and human technology is going to bring us forward into a grand new future. And really, it's this ego and this idea that we can control nature that's going to destroy us.
I call it ambitious.
Yeah.
I should think of probability also has something to do with this. We have so many nuclear plants that we haven't had many accidents. So people kind of tell themselves, it's very highly likely that there will be an accident. The problem is just that when there is an accident in a nuclear power plant, the consequences are extremely serious.
So it's similar to like we all fly in planes because the probability is the plane's not going to crash. But the big difference is when the plane crashes, it kills 100 or 200 people.
Right.
When the nuclear power plant goes off, it could be a lot worse.
Similar. Very good example, I think. That's why we fly. It's like, okay, well, it's safer than a car. And I got to get there. So it's great. Wonderful. Jet technology. It's like that. I think it applies to nuclear thinking as well.
So we're kind of fooling ourselves.
Okay, once in a blue moon we have an accident. That's terrible. Let's do, But overall, it's unbelievable. And they're going to push it. And it's cool to be atomic. Nuclear.
Well, I have another question for you. Does anybody else have a question before I go ahead?
I have a question, just a short one. Do you have any case where a country had a referendum or something to ban nuclear plants or something like that?
Yeah, 3.
Which?
Germany, Switzerland, Italy.
Okay, I think Germany didn't vote. Yeah, I knew about the Germany, but I think that Germany was without asking the people, but the political parties were inside. So, for 3 countries. Which was the other one? No.
Italy,
Italy.
yeah, and Switzerland.
And so what they're gonna do? They're just gonna shut down plant by plant, and
I don't even know if they even had nuclear plants. All I know is that they went to 100% green energy.
they. My question is something like, okay, do we have any example of, okay, we start with a plant,
Yeah.
government says, because, I don't know, or referendum or something else, government says, we stop it, what do we do now? Because the factories still would like to have electricity
Yes.
to produce stuff. So,
Yes, sir.
the second question is, like, do we have any example of, okay, finding replacement for this kind of energy?
Yeah. And Germany is a perfect example because they are developing more and more efficient wind technology and more efficient and super cheap solar energy. And we're talking about only replacing 15% of all electrical need. So it's not that much. So they accomplished it quite easily. And Germany is really well known. When I was in Berlin, I was drinking at a bar and I met a whole bunch of students who were getting masters and PhD and alternative energy technology masters. And I thought, wow. And none of them were German. They're all foreigners. And if you pass a basic German test, you can get free education. And they were there studying this alternative energy stuff. You know, Taiwan has everything we need to be the world #1 leader.
Yeah, that's
And
the point.
especially wave technology. That's the answer. Now, don't look at have you been to the wind turbines in Taichung? They don't even move. They're just sitting there. Forget that stuff. It's ugly.
The thing
If
about
you go to wave technology, it's in the ocean. You don't even see it. It's green, friendly, 24 hours a day. Awesome.
the thing about the green technology you were saying about, it's very important to say that the biggest green players in the world, you know, they're actually buying, their parts are made or are buying parts from Taiwan. Like,
Yes.
like 70% of Tesla vehicles are parts which you see inside are made in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So there are like 2 Heta and Maoli, and there are 2 factories. You can, I even knew their numbers on stock market. You can Google those 2, and you will see which parts are made by. So it means that Taiwan actually makes green stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, thank you for that because that's right on.
But they're
And-
not making them because they care if it's green. They make
For
them.
money.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just business.
It's
What
all-
sells will make.
It's almost always follow the money.
But,
They
but
make
the technology
both of
is
them.
there. So my point is like, okay, this
They can immediately move to start building themselves here. We have the ocean, we have the technology, we're already making parts.
because
You
Tesla.
can do it immediately.
Yeah,
That's
because
what I'm talking
Tesla.
about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, finish.
That's it.
No, because Tesla, for example, Elon Musk, he's that kind of says, okay, my energy, my patents can be used by anybody else, and it's also a marketing trick. He's doing it, but the point is, whenever it happens, some new model is made
Yeah.
on whatever it's new technology. As soon as it's the next generation come out, the old generation can be, bought and used.
Correct.
So I think that, and Taiwan makes already 3 generations of cars, so they can use at least the first one to make some other, I forgot the name of those batteries there actually, and those batteries can power schools.
And we didn't even mention geothermal. How can a nation like Philippines make billions and billions of dollars? Because they have so much geothermal energy they sell to Malaysia.
This was how I broke the best. Indifference, overblown confidence and ignorance. It all made sense. And then I watched them take the test. I believe it's better to inflict than to attempt relief. You ask me what you need. Hate is all you need. Hate is all around. Find it in your heart in every waking sound. On your way to school, work or church, you'll find it. It's the only rule. Build a different world. Hate will help you find what you've been looking for. inside your mother's heart and you'll find it there. You ask me what you need, hate is all you need. This was how I won the West. Charity, a joke that friendly cities think that we believe. So it seems we kicked and punched and stabbed you down. But everyone applauded my fine actions, I was overcome. You asked me what I've seen, hate is all I've seen.